I forget exactly how the saying goes. The saying I have in my head, what's it? Best time to do the thing you needed to do or the thing you want to do. The best time to do it was the first moment you realized that the second best moment is now. And now is after the moment has passed when you didn't act on the thing you needed or wanted to do. It's this video. Except now is not the second best time. It's like 582,722nd time or something like that. There's like less than 11 hours until the Switch 2 Direct. It's almost like 11:15 at night when I'm recording this. No script. This is going to be very much more rambly than it normally is. All I have are notes in front of me. This is literally like extremely last minute Switch 2 Direct, Switch 2 launch year predictions I have. So enjoy the 1 a.m., 2 a.m. upload. And here's another challenge. You're not getting any audio cut from this video. All of it's staying. We're keeping it all. I won't keep you too long though. So here's one of the reasons. Here's another thing why I wish I did this way sooner. Nintendo put out like a little tweet or like a little thing. They confirmed this Direct's gonna be an hour long. 60-minute Direct. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. Be like, trust me, bro. Literally, one of my predictions was that this thing was gonna be an hour long. This was gonna be a 60-minute showcase. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, the Switch presentation in January 2017, when we first saw Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Splatoon 2, etc. Like most of the first-party games for 2017. I'm pretty sure that presentation was an hour long too, and we got like, literally, Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Odyssey, Fire Emblem Warriors, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, like almost all the first parties that dropped for that initial year. I think they teased ARMS. We didn't know about Mario plus Rabbids until that year's E3, but vast majority of all those big titles, including all the stuff we knew about the Switch, all that was in that hour-long presentation. So it's already a very good sign. Very good sign. There's gonna be quite a number of big surprises and games announced at this thing. So when we get to the games section, I think I'm gonna go a little bit more loose cannon. I think I'm gonna go a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? Not loose cannon. Crackpot. We're gonna do more crackpot predictions for what the games could potentially be for this year. Because the one disadvantage, not necessarily the whole launch year, the Switch 2 has, is that like Switch 2 is coming out like halfway into the year. It's only gonna have like half of 2025. Switch 1 had like 10 months, most of 2017 for its launch year. So it really begs the question how much Nintendo's gonna squeeze into this whole first year for Switch 2. Because they're gonna need all like big games just out the gate. They had to convince us with so much stuff with the Switch coming off the heels of the Wii U. Not a lot of people were very confident in Nintendo and what they were planning to do with the Switch because of how poorly the Wii U went. So Nintendo had to do a lot of explaining and legwork and wiggle room just to get people on board the Switch. It didn't take that big of a while, but it did take a little bit just to get people on board. With Switch 2, Nintendo's not going to have to do a whole lot to convince people. So I think the main thing they're going to want to do is just have a lot of big games right out the gate. That's my guess. But first 10 to 15 minutes, I think they're going to focus on Switch 2 specifically and what it does, features of the console, the UI, the controllers, and all that stuff. And I think like 45 to maybe 50 minutes of the rest of the Direct is just going to be nothing but games. And most of them are going to, like, the big ones, the big games, probably going to have like 3-minute trailers, maybe like an extra 2 to 3 minutes of explaining some stuff here and there about these games. That's my guess for the general structure, excuse me, of the Direct. As far as those first 10-15 minutes, what they're going to tell us about Switch 2, it's a pretty safe assumption. Pretty much everything the differences the Switch 2 has compared to Switch 1, why you would want to invest into Switch 2, why you want to buy it. We're finally going to know what that C button does. We're going to see the UI. We're going to see just like the general feel. We're going to see the Pro Controller. We're going to see the new Joy-Con. We're going to see the price, etc. I think the new Joy-Con are going to be priced around $90 and the Pro Controller is going to be $80. That's my guess for that. But nothing super specific as far as like the actual the hardware itself of the Switch 2. I hope the Pro Controller is as good as Switch 1 Pro Controller, because the Switch 1 Pro Controller is one of the best controllers, pretty much, compared to every single other controller out there in the market. And under Nintendo, under Sony, under Microsoft, etc., in my opinion. There's been a lot of talk about the C button, what it could maybe do, because there was a lot of like leaks and rumors and stuff. I'm not going to go over everything. There was like the whole mouse control thing. I think the Switch 2 is going to have mouse support. I think just seeing the Joy-Con slide in the initial trailer like really gave it away. It really implied there was going to be, because they move around like computer mice. I thought that pretty much like soft confirmed, even though Nintendo didn't really say anything about mouse control. They're going to say it here. We're going to know. I'm going to say the C button means cursor, just to like enact like an actual cursor, so you can actually use it like a mouse, just to make it like intuitive in that sense. C button could be like all purpose too. It could mean like connect for like other systems or controllers, or just control or something like that. We'll know for tomorrow. I'm gonna say it's cursor, like a computer mouse, like a cursor you see on your computer screen, etc. Switch 2 is gonna be $400. I think it's gonna be $400. Seems pretty safe to assume. It's going to release mid-June. There's a whole lot of reasons to believe so. Like, it's going to be stronger than Switch 1. It's not, if it's around PS4 Pro level, it probably wouldn't be that much more expensive, but it shouldn't be that much more expensive, because the higher the price gets, the closer you get to comparing yourself to Sony and Microsoft systems. And Nintendo honestly thrives the more they steer away from trying to be like Sony and Microsoft. So like, power's one thing, but if they make the console like more expensive and they steer away from the fact that they are like the cheaper, more affordable company. Did a lot of screaming earlier, so if I'm losing my voice, that's how you know why. I think they would be losing something pretty valuable if they try to go any higher than 400. 450 I think is probably like the absolute highest cap. Anything higher than that, people are probably going to have more problems and more to say about this thing, even before we see any games and such. I think 400 is the sweet spot. 350 would be very ideal. I don't know if it would necessarily bite them in the ass at least a little bit, because then that would imply, oh, it's barely that much more expensive than Switch 1. It'd be a whole thing. $400. Mid-June, 2 months from this Direct. I think that makes sense. Two months out from how, like, Switch 1, its presentation in January, it dropped 2 months after that presentation. So something like that here, maybe even a little less than that, or like early June. I could see that. Yeah. I don't really care about the hardware, guys. We're coming to this thing for the games. We're tuning in for the games. Because every single Nintendo Direct, every single time Nintendo has a thing to show off, whether a Direct in the middle of the console's life, or showing off a new console, a presentation, E3, Direct, anything, there's always that one special surprise, that one big game, that one last thing, every single time. We had several of those, pretty much, in that first Switch presentation. We knew about Breath of the Wild, sure, but that trailer for Breath of the Wild for Switch, you know the one I'm talking about too, the Switch 2017 presentation trailer. Like, that one really moved people and really got people really excited for the game. Mario Odyssey was still a big thing. Splatoon 2 was still a big thing. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe wasn't a new game. Sure, you might not count, like, don't count it just because of that, sure, let's just say. But still, new game for most people who bought it. It was still a big deal. ARMS, relatively big deal for new IP. 1-2 Switch did well. Fire Emblem Warriors did well. Xenoblade 2 was a big deal for Xenoblade. It was another new first party IP, not new series, new entry. You get what I mean. But there was that tentpole IP. We got several of those. I think we might see several more of those in this one. I think it's safe to assume we're gonna get more than just Mario. So, and I think most of the announcements in this Direct too, they're just gonna hyper focus on games coming out this year. I think we'll get like 1 or 2 game announcements where it'll be like, oh, it's 2026. Most of it's just gonna focus on stuff coming out this year for Switch 2. I think you could pre-order the console on April 9th, a week from the presentation. I think a week from now we're gonna be able to pre-order this system. And let's see. Oh, I guess there are 2 more things about Switch, not hardware specifically, but Switch Online. I think they're gonna update that service. They're gonna add a new console library to the system, but you can only access that library on Switch 2. I think that's going to be the main thing to get people to jump over to Switch 2. I don't think they're going to buff the price. I think it's going to stay $50. But I do think they are going to make certain libraries inaccessible to Switch 1, only exclusive to Switch 2, to get people to jump. I think we're going to get at least 1 new library for NSO. And I think okay. I'm going to bring up the mouse thing later because I got one crackpot prediction. But there's a whole thing with like rumors for like dual screen support or whatever. But with the mouse support thing, if I'm assuming that's going to be in Switch 2, it's probably going to be DS games. I'm going to say DS games are going to be added to the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack specifically, and to co-align with the whole cursor mouse support thing. I think that's what's going to be added to NSO. Switch 2 edition games, that was the other thing I forgot because I made a whole video about that. I do, just to bring it back up, just to keep the point concise, I think it's going to be free upgrades. You can download you can download 4 Switch 1 games. I'm not saying you can download Switch 1 games, but if you own the physical copy of the game, or if you bought it digitally on Switch 1, you can still get it digitally on Switch 2. Switch 2 is backwards compatible. I think they're going to make it to where it's just free upgrades. I don't think we're going to get an increased price. I think Nintendo's going to be a little bit smarter with it. I think at worst, we're going to get like a $5 to $10 increase on games. Like, if we already own it, we could download it for like $5 to $10. I don't think they're going to do the remaster thing. I think it's just going to be free updates. And if you own the games already, you could just download them for free. I think Nintendo is going to make it like very consumer friendly in terms of Switch 2 edition. All right. Now let's actually talk about games. Excuse me. I promise you, I'm like 95% better. It's just I came back from the first week of a Mario Kart circuit. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's like a team tournament type thing. We kind of curb stomped the shit out of our opponents. It was kind of crazy. Speaking of Mario Kart though, Mario Kart 9, made a whole video talking about the whole game. It's going to be a launch game. It's going to be a launch title. It's going to be the first game that comes out on Switch 2. It's going to be the one thing that's going to really drive sales for this thing. It's going to be, like, out of the gate, this thing's going to sell because Mario Kart 9 or 10 is going to be at the start. I think it's going to be called either 9 or a subtitle. I don't think it's going to be called 10. If it's not going to be called 10 or 9, it's Tour, Double Dash, Super Circuit. It's going to be given a subtitle like those games. That's my guess. If you saw the video, like I have the video predicting stuff or like analyzing the Mario Kart 9 trailer, I think we're going to see more of the roster. We're going to see more tracks. We're going to see the big app the game has, the core mechanic, or if there's going to be like single player stuff. We're going to know. We're going to know the core big thing about Mario Kart 9, 10, whatever it's called. I have a character roster video planned and a retro track prediction video plan. I'm kind of hoping they don't show too many characters or too many retro tracks in particular, because they're probably going to want to save at least like a good chunk of some of that content just to surprise people for when the game comes out. Because people knowing of a new Mario Kart, they're just going to immediately jump on Switch 2 and they're just going to get the game either way, right? You don't need to really show people that much of the new Mario Kart just to get them on board. You need to show them the gimmick, but like all the tracks, all the characters, like what they did with Mario Kart 8. You don't need to do that. Please do not. Nintendo, for the love of God, do not spoil your games before they come out. You need to stop doing that, please, for the love of God. Okay, here's kind of a big one. It might see people think it's a safe prediction, but a lot of those same people don't realize the Mario Kart team is the same team as the ARMS team. I think because it's been so long since they made a new console, Mario Kart, and because ARMS did really well, Min-Mins and Smash, I think they're going to give us ARMS 2. I think ARMS 2 is going to be one, like, it and Mario Odyssey are the only Switch 2017 games that didn't get a sequel. ARMS makes sense why it didn't, because these guys constantly are making Mario Kart stuff. You had the Booster Course Pass, you had Tour, you had Live Home Circuit. Still, though, almost 11 years since Mario Kart 8 was brand new. So they had plenty of time to make a new Mario Kart, but I think they had enough time and enough manpower to squeeze out making a sequel to ARMS. I think ARMS 2 has like a safe bet behind it. I'm not trying to get my hopes up too much because it's literally the same guys who make Mario Kart. You know they were going to prioritize Mario Kart. Mario Kart. So I'm not trying to get my hopes up too much. I had to blow my nose, so I already broke my promise of not cutting out audio. ARMS 2. I think there's a viable shot there, and I think it would be a good title just to, like, have some games out in that first year. That was kind of the reason ARMS did really well anyways. Because when Splatoon 2 came out, nobody talked about the game anymore. It sold like 3 million. You can't undersell that for a new IP, and when that's better than like pretty much most first-party Nintendo IPs. Straight up. So, Nintendo probably is going to make ARMS 2. If it's not here, if it's not in the first year, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going to be that surprised. If it is here, though, bear in mind, I'm going to be one of the first people to pop off about it. Just an FYI, you've seen Min on my channel, man. Here's a safe one. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond cross-gen. They've been very weird about the release date for Metroid Prime 4. They keep dropping trailers for the game, but we still don't know when exactly it's coming out. They make it seem like it's coming out way later in the Switch 1's life, when Switch 2 is right around the corner. I think it's going to be cross-gen, but I don't think it's going to be at launch. I think it's going to drop a few months later. Like, somewhere in July or August. I'm going to say July. I think they're going to want to, like... They're going to make it a Twilight Princess Breath of the Wild type thing, except they're not going to drop it at the beginning of a console. I think that's going to be the key difference. There's going to be a Switch 2 edition of Metroid Prime 4, just as there is a Switch 1 edition, and the Switch 2 edition will look better, it'll run better, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to make it like a remaster thing. I think they're just going to make it as like one of the main cases for what a Switch 2 edition game could be. I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be that. But I think it's probably going to be one of the few, if not the only cross-gen game Switch 2 has. There was a lot of talk of cross-gen for Switch 2. I don't think there's going to be that much. Obviously, is a prediction, so I could be wrong. But I think Metroid Prime 4 literally is the only cross-gen game. Even though there's nothing really insinuating Metroid Prime 4 specifically is going to be cross-gen, I think it's probably going to be the only one that's cross-gen. At least as far as like first-party Nintendo games go, right? And since we're on that note, third parties, right? They're going to have a sizzle reel. They're going to show games from third-party companies coming to this thing. I think they're going to put it in a sizzle reel format. I don't think they're going to have like that many of like the big third-party games that you expect to be on a console, like Fortnite, Minecraft, Fall Guys. Like games like those, I don't think they're going to have like a big thing. I think they're just going to put them in a sizzle reel. And just to like list off some, I guess. Let's see. Dragon Ball, Sparking Zero, Minecraft, Fortnite, Fall Guys, freaking Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8. Only, I think if this thing is going to be on the spectrum of PS4 Pro, if DLSS, if that technology is that strong, I don't know how that would really, I don't know how you would make that work for a fighting game on a less powerful console. Screw it. I think, you know what, Tekken 8's probably going to be on there. If it's PS4 Pro levels of powerful, it's probably going to be on there. I can't think of any other third-party game. There's probably plenty more I'm not thinking of. I don't even know if I said Among Us. Among Us, probably. But they're probably going to put, like, a Switch 2 release of plenty of, like, big third-party titles from other companies on there. They'll probably get, like, a decent bit of spotlight here and there. Pokemon Legends EA, that is not getting a Switch 2 version. I think that's going to be strictly Switch 1. I think that's going to be a Pokemon Black 2, White 2 scenario. You can still play it on Switch 2, but Black 2, White 2 was a DS game. It was like one of the last probably the last big first-party title on the DS. I think it's going to be the same thing for Switch 1 with Legends EA. It might get a Switch 2 edition. I don't think they're making a whole separate version for Switch 2, though. I think it's just going to get like the whole update thing that most other Switch 1 games will get. Alright. There's not a lot left. I just said we might get new ARMS. I think... no, I said Metroid Prime was July. I do think we are going to get ARMS. But I'm going to say screw it. It's probably safe to assume we're getting a new Fire Emblem. Actually, wait. Do I want to predict that? It's going to be a remake. It's going to be a remake. Genealogy of Holy War? I don't know. Radiant Dawn? Path of Radiance? I don't know, man. A new Fire Emblem probably makes sense. Engage came... When did Engage come? Engage came out, like, at the beginning of 2023, right? Yeah. And Engage was done for a while, too. It was done for a really good while. So that thing was technically done since, like, the middle of 2022. So, yeah, I think it makes sense that Intelligent Systems probably has at least some Fire Emblem thing waiting in the wakes. I don't know if it's going to be a new game, but I think a remake is probably a safe bet. Because Fire Emblem Warriors was a side thing. It was like a spin-off type of Fire Emblem thing. It wasn't a mainline game. So something like a Fire Emblem spin-off or some smaller type of game like a remake, I think would make a lot of sense. August. What do we got for the roadmap so far? Mario Kart for Switch 2, June. July, we got Metroid Prime 4. I don't think I gave a date for ARMS. Fuck it. I'm going to say ARMS 2 is July. August, Fire Emblem. Right? Here, okay. I think I say... Oh my god, do I want to... Oh... I had Donkey Kong on the thumbnail. I forgot. I put Fire Emblem here to replace my Donkey Kong prediction. New Donkey Kong game for September. Screw it, man. Screw it. This is literally the one opportunity we have to go just balls to the wall crazy for big first-party games to come. So, screw it. In-house Nintendo, they made a new Donkey Kong game. They are still marketing Country Returns HD long after, like two plus months after the game came out. After freaking after Xenoblade came out, right as they're about to show off Switch 2 stuff, they're still trying to ham up Country Returns HD, which is really funny. Because why the hell are you marketing this game more than Mario RPG, Thousand Year Door, and Brothership literally combined? Why? It's a Donkey Kong remaster. It's not Tropical Freeze. It's a great game, but it's not Tropical Freeze. It's still another remaster of a Donkey Kong game. Why? I think Nintendo's trying to build something up to DK. Might not be this year. Maybe it might be too much. I don't know if it's a 2D game or a 3D game. I'm gonna say it might be a new 3D game. I think Nintendo is gonna favor more 3D games as of late, but Nintendo keeps trying to hype up Donkey Kong for something. He got a big thing in the Mario movie. His section of Nintendo World is opening up really soon. Nintendo's still trying to market Donkey Kong Country Returns HD for God knows whatever reason. God, I wish Thousand Year Door got more marketing than that. I'm just saying, but. I think Nintendo's hyping up something for DK. A new game would make a lot of sense. They're running out of games to remaster and re-release on new Nintendo consoles too. We have a lot of the classic DK games on NSO. We have Tropical Freeze and Country Returns now on here. Fuck it, man. Fuck it. Donkey Kong game, September. It's 3D. And here, I'm listing all these IPs. I'm going balls to the wall crazy. And here... That was Crackpot prediction. Here we go. Crazy. Pie in the sky wish. It's a Crackpot. Screw it. This is finally the time we get Kid Icarus Uprising HD. It's going to be put on Switch 2. It's going to come out in September. If not at the tail end of the year. After the big holiday game. Like December or something like that. Everyone is saying, listen, I'm gonna sound like a very petty, territorial asshole right now. Dude, how many times have I seen, ever since Switch 2 was rumored to be having this mouse support, and then the Joy-Con sliding in the trailer, and then everyone's like, oh, this means Kid Icarus Uprising can work on Switch 2. Guys, we can finally get the game. You're fake as shit, my guy. What? Because, dude, I have literally been saying for the last several years, you guys saw that. I don't think you guys saw the video, but I made a video talking about, God, Kid Icarus deserves so much more. They deserve more games. They deserve remasters being put on modern hardware. Literally, any other type of control scheme would be better than what the 3DS had. That was the one thing people had problems with Kid Icarus Uprising on 3DS, just the funky ass control scheme everyone had with the game, right? You're telling me a third-person shooter wouldn't work on a Pro controller when that's been a genre for the last 20 years with the same control scheme as any normal-ass, fuck-ass controller? Are you... Dude, don't get me wrong. Mouse support would be good. Kid Icarus is not that precise of a game. Uprising is not that precise as far as third-person shooters go. Dog, we have had on-rails games since the freaking SNES. Just fine. Star Fox. Literally on-rail shooting. Third-person shooters have been a thing for God knows how long. I'm just saying, I feel like people... Why are people trying to hype up the mouse thing right now, specifically with Kid Icarus Uprising, when either gyro or especially just normal Pro Controller support would work just fine for Kid Icarus Uprising, right? Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm being a little bit petty for no reason. Maybe I'm just missing something. I don't know. Because, yeah, I understand. Mouse support would be good for most DS and 3DS games. Kid Icarus Uprising... That's not the saving grace that would just fix the control scheme. You have plenty of options that are just better than the 3DS control scheme, right? Am I crazy? You can call me an asshole in the comments, that's fine. Am I crazy? Is my logic like out of line? I don't think it is. Cause, dude, where the fuck were you guys like 5-10 years ago? Or 7, I guess, cause Switch. But, dude, where were you years ago? Oh my god, dude. Whatever. People want to pretend they care about Kid Icarus, fine. If it'll help us get a new Kid Icarus anything, Uprising should have been on Switch. If it could get buffed performance and like graphics and whatnot, dude. I just want it on a modern Nintendo console. I don't think it should be locked to 3DS. That's one of my Crackpot predictions. You could say Donkey Kong and ARMS 2 are Crackpot. I don't think ARMS was a Crackpot prediction, but there was mainly 2 Crackpot predictions on this thing. Kid Icarus Uprising HD is one of them. There's only 2 other. This one's not Crackpot. I just made a whole video talking about it. 3D Mario. Hang on. What was that one comment? Because, I didn't give it much thought, I'll be honest. The whole idea of it being open. Like, I've thought about, how people compare it to Bowser's Fury and how it's basically an open world Mario game. It's still sandbox, but it's, so small scale. It has the structure of what you'd expect from, a actual open world platformer type of game. People want it to be, people want the next 3D Mario to be Breath of the Wildified, basically, right? I didn't give it much thought. I'm trying to find the comment. It was on my recent video. Nintenguy128. Shouts out to Nintenguy128. Because his comment that actually went further in depth on the idea of an actual truly open world Mario game. You're convincing me, my guy. I'll take a snapshot and I'll put it in the video for you. Yeah, cause yeah, it probably would be a really huge thing. I still don't know if that's something Nintendo should just maintain for 3D Mario going forward, just because I don't know exactly how sustainable or reasonably sustainable it would be for 3D Mario, but revolutionary, evolutionary. It could be. It could. The like as you said, the potential for the level design, the move sets, how Mario could control for like not just for 3D Mario itself, how it could pretty much redefine the 3D platforming genre again, applying the genre to a true open world, not just locking it off to these action adventure RPG type of games, right? Like it'd be the new golden standard. Sonic Frontiers is like the closest thing we have, pretty much, and even then it has its faults. But Mario attempting something like that, literally, like it would be Mario 64 all over again, right? Because like Mario, it wasn't the first 3D platform or like 3D game. I don't think it. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't the first 3D platformer. But Mario 64 was the template for so many different games, like 3D platformer and non-3D platformer. Like it inspired so much with just the structure the game had, the camera, the axis, like a lot of stuff Mario 64 that like, I always think how Kingdom Hearts was inspired by Mario 64, yet Kingdom Hearts is like a completely different type of game altogether. It's nothing like a platformer, yet Mario 64 was a big inspiration for it, sure, why not? But an open world 3D Mario where it became the golden standard for platformers all around, yeah, I like that very much. Honestly, screw it. If Nintendo does go like Breath of the Wild-ify or like truly make a 3D Mario fully open world, that'd be pretty hype. If not, though, it'd still be very hype because we're getting a new 3D Mario, and 3D Mario's always slap. So everyone's been talking about it. I already made a video talking about it too. 3D Mario is the big thing. I think that's probably gonna be like there's gonna be a lot of first parties on here, some big games here. I think maybe not a lot. Maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, but there's definitely going to be several big first parties that are going to get people going crazy. 3D Mario, I think, is going to be the last big thing in this direct. Game's going to drop in either late October or early November. The other last big thing. This is my second Crackpot prediction, and I think this is the craziest Crackpot prediction. I think if 3D Mario is not going to be the last special thing, the last big thing, right? I think they're going to tease a new Smash Bros. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. Fuck it, man. It's not going to come out this year, but I think Sakurai's game, the game he's been working on, he said he was working on a big project ever since Sora wrapped up, ever since he finished the DLC. Smash is so big now, Nintendo's going to want to prioritize the series. If it's not Smash Bros, don't get me wrong, I'm fine with it. We're going to get a lot of... I'm going to get Mario Kart and 3D Mario this year. I'm in no rush for Smash Bros, and I still play Ultimate a lot anyways, but Smash is so big now, Nintendo's going to want to prioritize it. At least with Ultimate 2, it feels like Nintendo loves to push these games out as soon as they possibly can. We got Melee like very early on in the GameCube's life. Brawl came, I think, like a year and a half, something like that, into the Wii's life. It took a while for the Wii U and 3DS to get smashed. None of us even expected the 3DS to get smashed. But like, they greenlit Smash Ultimate when they didn't even finish Smash 4's DLC. So Nintendo knows they want Smash Brothers as soon as they make a new Nintendo console. Smash is not going to stop when Nintendo is behind the wheel. So whether or not Sakurai's going to be behind it is a different discussion, but Nintendo's going to make sure we're going to get a new Smash Bros. And I do think Sakurai was working on Smash Bros. It's not coming out this year. I think it's coming out for 2026, but I do think Smash Brothers is going to be the last big thing just to keep people... Well, I don't know if I really think that. I think Mario's the safe bet. 3D Mario's the safe bet. If they put Mario in that middle of the direct like they did with Metroid Prime 4, the last direct, dude, I'm gonna go crazy with Smash. Dude, no, because that is exactly how you get people talking. That is exactly how you get momentum for this console really pushing. Not just with a Mario Kart, not just with a 3D Mario, not just if you throw in ARMS 2, Metroid Prime 4, a new Fire Emblem, or a new Donkey Kong. If you have Smash Brothers already confirmed, or teased, like lightly teased, at the tail end of this, and you say that's like going to be the big game next year, this thing low-key might sell fucking 50, 60 million units after like the whole first year is over. Like listen, man. Business-wise, you understand where I'm coming from, but obviously the crackpot comes from the fact that, like, what do you do with Smash Brothers after Ultimate? But I also think, like, if Sakurai's next big game was Smash, so far he's had 3 years working on it. You can't say the same about Ultimate. And even then, I think the next Smash game is probably going to reuse a lot of assets and stuff saved in Ultimate, just like how Ultimate reused a lot of assets and stuff from Smash 4. I don't want to go too deep into it because I kind of wanted to make this its own video too. But if 3D Mario gets shown off early on in the Direct, especially if both Mario Kart and 3D Mario are not at the end, like the way I picture this Direct is like the first game they show off is probably going to be Mario Kart, and I think they're going to end it on 3D Mario. If they don't end it on 3D Mario, low key, I'm kind of expecting Smash. That's my craziest take. That's my crazy theory. You heard it here first, right? You heard it here first. Even though I'm one of the last people making these predictions videos. But I think it could be a teasy tease too. Dude, they could just do the same thing like they did when they teased Ultimate, dude. Because they just had the Inklings run around, and then the giant flaming Smash logo. We didn't even see the game. We barely saw any of the characters. It was just Inkling, Mario, Link, and like silhouettes of a couple other characters. We didn't even know it was going to be the Ultimate Smash game. So I think that would be a good prediction video, dude. I think that could be a big thing for this game, for the Direct. Almost 10 hours. Almost 10 hours by the time I'm probably going to finish recording this. This is going to be huge. It's gonna be huge, guys. I'm gonna go and edit this video. Give me predictions in those comments. I'm not expecting this video to do well, but that's okay. I got predictions out. It wasn't a double upload yesterday, but it's probably gonna be at least a triple upload the day of this Direct. Guys, thank you for watching. Get hype. We're so close. We're so close. Everything's going to change in just a matter of hours. Catch you guys during that Direct. And with a lot of videos after, because you know there's going to be a lot of videos following that Direct. Stay super.
Yo, hey, 妹妹，嘿，我来呀！共和到哈哈呀！拉面，嘿，来面，来个面，共和再见呀！哈哈。拉面，下手面，谢谢。